Well, hello. I am so happy to be here with you today. My name is Sarah McCubbin from 10 Minute Momentum, and I love talking about all the different ways we can help our kids be successful academically, socially, emotionally. And today I want to talk about one of those terrible pain points that homeschool parents face. And actually, if you have kids in school, you might face this too. And that is when our kids get behind in math. You might talk to a homeschool parent and hear them say things like, oh, my kid needs to catch up in math this year, or they're so behind. And the conversation kind of goes along, and you might hear a homeschool parent say something like, well, that's okay. Your kids are never really behind in math. Have you ever heard that? You're never really behind when you homeschool. You just work at your own pace. Yeah. And that is true to some extent. I'm not saying that's not true. That's one of the reasons we homeschool, that our kids can work at their own pace, that they can be successful at whatever level they're at. It's amazing. However, there are times when our kids need to catch up in math in order to do the next thing. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So come along with me and let's talk about how we can help our kids catch up in math if they're behind. Okay, so today we're going to talk about one of my favorite curriculums, and that is CTC Math. And I have used a lot of different curriculum over the past 17 years, a lot of different math curriculum, a lot of good math curriculum. But one of the things I love about this one is that, well, it's online, which is super handy. But the reason I love it today, for what I'm talking about today, is that it is perfect if you have a child that's behind in math. They could be just concepts they need reviewed, or it could be that they are grade levels behind and you need them to get caught up for something. Now, why might you need to catch up a student in math? Well, it could just be that you want them to be able to work at grade level for all their subjects, like purely a convenience thing. It could be that if your child is going to move on to the next thing and they need to be at grade level, that's your reason. Like they're going to join a hybrid homeschool program, or maybe you're going to put them in school and they need to be at grade level. That could be a reason. If you have an older student, you may have a kid in high school and they want to take chemistry, for example. Well, usually you need to take algebra before you take chemistry. So if you have a child that's been behind in math and now you need to accelerate so that they can stay on grade level for some other subjects, that might be a reason to catch up. So this conversation probably isn't for everyone, but if you find yourself in that position where you have a student that you need to accelerate to get caught up in math, then CTC is a great fit. Now, in our house, I have a son who is in fourth grade, and he is behind in math. And he started off in kindergarten and first grade and would just turn into a puddle of tears anytime math came out. He took off with reading, but it was almost like a math dyslexia or something like that. Like he would just melt. And it was terrible, like every day, buckets of tears. And almost 2 years ago, we found CTC Math. And initially, there were still a few tears. And now, every day, when he does 3 lessons of math, he tells me, I love math. It's so easy. I like it so much. Yeah, it's a totally different kid when it comes to math. He feels so confident. He can do all he needs to do. He is still a little behind, but he is doing 3 math lessons a day and it's easy for him now. So he's going to be caught up by the end of the school year. So today I want to talk about 2 different ways you can use CTC math to get caught up. Now, if you have a child like my son, the really straightforward way to catch up is to just double down on the math lessons, do multiple per day, and you can move through multiple grade levels in one school year. That is an okay way to accelerate because CTC math is set up to learn concepts and it's not set up as like 180 lessons. It actually has less lessons per grade level than a normal textbook curriculum. All right. But that may not be the problem that you're having. So for a lot of kids, they did the second grade math, they did the third grade math, they get to fourth, fifth grade, whatever, they get to the next grade, and there's these gaps in their math, right? There's gaps, like they forgot all their multiplication tables, or for some reason you changed curriculum and in the process they never learned fractions or something like that. And that's really common because us homeschool moms, we like to change curriculum. So when we do that, though, sometimes it creates these gaps because our kids have not been following the same curriculum every year. That's okay, no problem. CTC Math is amazing because, first of all, when you buy it, you get all 12, 13 grades, K through 12, of math curriculum. So your son or daughter has access to all of those grade levels. And I'm going to show you in a second how you can create your own custom math curriculum for your child so that they catch up their gaps and so that you can work on just what they need, what concepts they're missing so that they get caught up. And then they're going to work on grade level, right? And this works whether you have a child that is just missing one math concept or whether they're missing quite a few. All right. You can use this strategy. And I love that the child does not need to go back and do all of third grade math or all of fourth grade math. They're just going to work on the concepts that they need. And if you have used math books, you will understand how difficult it is to do with just a traditional math curriculum because it's not easy to just go back and cover certain concepts. All right, so come along with me because I'm going to show you how you create a custom math plan or custom curriculum with CTC Math. All right, so when you have a student who is behind, quote unquote, in math, and you're trying to help them catch up, you have the option in CTC Math to kind of create a custom experience. And I want to show you that right now. You can kind of create your own custom curriculum. As I already said, CTC Math includes grades K to 12 in every subscription. So, for example, my son Bob over here is technically in fourth grade math, but for the first couple of years, he really struggled and made very little progress. So he just finished the second grade math and he's moved on to the third grade math. So I'm going to show you here how we can create a custom track for a kid like Bob, who's over a year behind in math. And depending on your child, you may want to use this option. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here to tasks. This is where we're going to create our custom math curriculum for our kids. And then we are going to change the name of this, or you can leave it this way. Sorry, right here. You can change the name or leave it this way. This is really helpful if you're just trying to create, maybe you want your child to work on subtraction or um, two-digit multiplication or something like that. You can create a title that makes a little more sense than Homework Tuesday, December 3rd. So I'm not going to change that title yet or the description. But what we're going to do is we're going to add the recipient. So in this case, I'm going to add Bob, and then I'm going to add the lessons. And when you want to add the lessons, you can either choose online or worksheets. And in most cases, I'm going to recommend online unless you have a very hands-on child or they're working on a concept that really requires them to work pen and paper or pencil and paper. Okay, so let's add some online questions. And like I said, Bob is in fourth grade right now. So if I was trying to help Bob catch up for fourth grade, what I would actually do is choose the fourth grade curriculum, and I want to see what they're working on here. I see that they have some number patterns, algebra, number. I see addition and subtraction review. I see some multiplication. I see division. Okay. Money and financial, mathematics, fractions. All right. So units of measure. Now, if I'm helping Bob catch up in fourth grade math, I have two options. I can double down and have him work through the third grade math and then fourth grade math and just do multiple lessons a day, which is actually the route we're working with right now because he's pretty young. However, if he was older and I was trying to help him catch up, this is what I would do instead. So you can see what concepts he needs to master, right? So we'll say multiplication. He needs to master multiplication. So I'm going to come out here. I'm going to look at third grade multiplication. Okay, we're going to look at the subjects that they have here for third grade multiplication. And we've already done second grade. So I know that I want him to do all the third grade multiplication because that's really important and we're going to get caught up in that area. So I'm going to choose the first couple of assignments in third grade multiplication. Okay, I'm going to just choose 5 of them. That would be like a week. And then I'm going to save. And I'm going to come over here and looks like I had already assigned something. Now, when I set this up originally, I made it all due like in one day. So I need to edit this. And I'm going to give him a week to get those 5 lessons done. Now, if you're like me and you're trying to require your child to do more than one a day, then you would clearly just adjust this. But this gives him 5 days to get 5 math lessons done if I do it the right way. There we go. Okay, so today, when I'm recording this, is December 3rd, and he has till December 9th to get them all done. Okay, so the task is saved, and I assigned 5 lessons in there, and he can work on them at his own pace. He can do all 5 in one day, or he can spread them out. Now, you can actually go through and assign very specifically this lesson to this day and do them all that way. It depends on how much time you have and how you like to work. Now I could go back in and I could create the next week's assignment. So we'll say the 9th. We'll just give him that number of days. He has a whole week to get the next set done. And again, we're going to come in here and we're going to add a recipient. We actually have the option to add diagnostic tests if you want to do that instead of just the lessons. If you're trying to figure out what your child knows and doesn't know, that's a good option. And again, we're going to come over here to 3rd grade, and I am going to make sure that we'll click over here to diagnostic. I'm going to make sure that he knows all his whole numbers. So we're going to do the diagnostic test for that. And that's going to tell me whether or not we even need to do this work, right? We're not sure always what our kids know and what they don't know. So I'm going to assign one diagnostic test per day. Okay, so he's got 5 days to do this clump of work, and I'm going to assign 5 diagnostic tests, and that's going to help me know whether or not we need to do work in that area. Now I'm coming back here to the title, and I could put practice tests. Okay, so these, I did not put 3rd grade on this. In fact, you have the option of hiding the year of the lessons, the level of the lessons and things like that. If you have a child that's behind, it can be discouraging. So you can hide the level of the lessons. That way, if your child was 2 years behind, 3 years behind, it doesn't really matter. You can hide the grade level of all these lessons, and that will work. Okay, so we're back, and now you can see how easy it is for you to take where your child is at right now, whether they're in 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th grade, wherever they're at, right? And you can go back to earlier levels of learning, earlier levels of that same concept, and put it into the program and reassign it to your student without a grade level attached to it. And now your child is going back and learning those earlier steps in the concept they're missing. So whether they need to go back and do a refresher on multiplication, like early levels of multiplication, and do all the lessons from 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, whatever, you can do that. Or you can, choose any other concept, which is awesome. And I really like that if you're trying to figure out what their gaps are, you've got these diagnostic tests, right? And you just do the diagnostic test at their grade level. So if your child is in 4th grade and you're trying to figure out, well, which of these things, where are the holes? I'm trying to speed up the process. Where are the holes? You can just assign them the diagnostic tests over a certain area, like I showed you in the recording of the parent portal. You can assign diagnostic tests for specific concepts. And you're going to get a really good idea based on how your child scores, whether that's an area where you need to go back and review. This is also helpful, as we talked about before, if you're trying to if you're trying to catch your child up you don't want them to have to go back and do everything, right? So you're trying to narrow down, like maybe they already know all their multiplication, but like I said before, maybe they don't know their fractions. And they need both of those in order to be able to move up into like pre-algebra concepts, things like that. So this is going to help you narrow your focus so that you're only assigning remedial math problems for things that they don't know already. And so it kind of prevents you from wasting your effort and them from wasting their effort. And like I said, you can remove the grade levels from their assignments. So when you assign them, they're just seeing multiplication problems. They're just seeing fractions. They don't know if it came from second grade math, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. They don't know what level it came from because that is not attached to that work anymore. So I hope this was helpful. This is one of the reasons I love CTC Math. It is such a gift to be able to have a tool that you can use to help your child get caught up in math if that's a goal you have for your family. Of course, it's totally fine if it's not, but if that's your goal, I highly recommend trying out CTC Math. They do have a free math trial. And so you can go in there and try it out with your kids. They also offer a 365-day money back guarantee. So if you get in there, you invest the money, you try it out for a few months or whole school year, and you're like, yeah, it didn't work for my kids. It was terrible. It's not terrible, but like we all know, we've encountered that. If you do that, you can still get your money back. And I love that there's an understanding that sometimes when we're educating kids, we need more than 7 days or 30 days to try something out, right? We need some time. And working with CTC Math, I have found that they give you the time, right? You have the time to try it out with your kids. Try it out with one child. It's a super deal if you buy it for all your kids at one time. It's just a phenomenal deal and highly recommend it. It's definitely something that our family has benefited from, and I hope it benefits your family as well.